Hello friends, welcome to UGC EPG Pathshala. Myself, Dr. Chandri Banerjee, Assistant Professor in the Department of Geography, BSR Government Arts College, Alwar, Rajasthan. And I shall speak on the dualisms that exist in the subject of geography and whether such dualism is a myth or a reality. And this is a part of the paper on geographical thought. Before we proceed, we keep in mind the following objectives in mind. To understand the meaning of dualism and dichotomies that exist in the discipline of geography, to explore the types of dualisms that are prevalent in geographical discipline, and to analyze whether such dualisms and dichotomies are a reality or a myth. Meaning of dualism and dichotomy in geography is the first to start with. The word dualism simply connotes the state of being divided. For any domain of knowledge, therefore, it means two conceptually contrasted stances, and this view equally holds good for the discipline of geography as well. Dualism finally leads to dichotomy, which means the bifurcation of any subject into branches of knowledge. Ever since its inception as a domain of knowledge, geography has been encountered with several methodological issues that eventually gave birth to several dualisms and dichotomies in the subject. Such dualisms were prevalent even in the classical or medieval periods of geographical history, and may be found in the writings of Greek scholars like Aristotle, Hecataeus or Herodotus, or the Roman scholars like Strabo, who insisted on regional geography, or Ptolemy stressing on mathematical geography, and the Arab scholars like al-Masudi, al-Biruni or al-Idrisi, who all highlighted on the importance of the physical environment. However, such dualisms were very equivocal and abstruse in the sense that they were very obscured. It was in the post-Renaissance period that geography witnessed the evident rise of dualism, and since then the subject has been branched off into several mutually exclusive domains on methodological grounds. Over time, the divisions have been further subdivided into different subdisciplines as well. And some of the most conspicuous dualisms known to exist in the subject of geography are general or systematic geography versus regional geography, physical geography versus human geography, and the historical geography versus contemporary geography. We first start with the dualism between systematic geography and the regional geography. The dualism between systematic and regional geography is essentially rooted in another dualism that exists in the approaches to the study of geography. And this was a dualism between the ideographic or inductive approach and the nomothetic or the deductive approach. The dichotomy between the two approaches may be explicated as, while the ideographic or the empirical approach were concerned mainly with the description of particular places in the context of their land, seas or places, and did not seek to develop or build laws, its main attempt was to find the relation of the places and the elements in it in relation to each other. The nomothetic or the deductive approach, on the other hand, sought to establish laws relevant for a location and make deductions based on those laws. Dualism in geography was formally introduced in the 17th century, which is often described as the pre-classical period of modern geography by the German geographer Bernhard Varinius. Using the terms of Bartholomew Keckermann, who was a German philosopher, Verenius in his famous Geographia Generalis partitioned geography into special geography that was essentially concerned with the description of particular places on the basis of direct observations. This branch of geography was assumed to have great practical importance for governance and commerce. The other branch was the general geography, which was based on universally applicable mathematical or astronomical laws. Gradually, general geography evolved into systematic geography by incorporating the methods of the systematic sciences, while special geography evolved into regional geography. In simple words, the two may be expounded as the study of the natural vegetation of the world is a systematic approach, while the study of the continent with respect to its natural vegetation, landforms, climate, etc. is a regional approach. The prominent German geographer Alexander von Humboldt followed Varinius and laid the foundation of systematic geography. In his famous book Cosmos, Humboldt asserted that geography was meant to understand the harmonious unity of the cosmos. He distinguished between uranography as a descriptive astronomy dealing with the celestial bodies and geography as dealing with the terrestrial part, with the prime objective of deciphering the unity that exists in the vast diversity of phenomena on the Earth's surface. It was not only the natural phenomena that Humboldt spoke of, but he also asserted that there exists unity of the human races as well, since he assumed that all the races had a common origin, and therefore no race could be considered as superior to the other. The unity of the phenomena, a viewpoint that Humboldt obtained from the German philosopher Hegel, was based on the conjecture that there exists coherence as well as some sort of causality among them. The understanding of that unity was supposed to be derived from an understanding of the unity that subsisted between humans and the physical landscape. In fact, Humboldt opined that, like other phenomena, humans were basically a part of the nature. Knowledge of the natural or physical phenomena was categorized by Humboldt as systematic sciences, which included sciences like botany, zoology or geology that classified phenomena according to their form and grouped them on the basis of certain commonalities. Historical sciences, which dealt with the development of phenomena over time. And finally, geography or the earth sciences, which concerned itself with the spatial distribution and spatial relationship and interdependence of the phenomena. It included all earth phenomena, whether it was organic or inorganic. Humboldt in his Cosmos stressed on his views that for a comprehensive knowledge of the cosmos, it was necessary to pursue systematic studies of particular phenomena and their interrelationship with other phenomena rather than undertaking complete studies of specific areas. According to Karl Ritter, who was a contemporary of Humboldt, geography was concerned with the local conditions, which described a spatial unit on the basis of three characteristics. The first was topographical, that was concerned with the delineation of natural divisions on the Earth's surface. The second was formal, which dealt with the distribution and movement of such phenomena as water, air, etc., all of which constituted the basis of human life. And thirdly, the material aspect, which dealt with the distribution of biotic life, minerals, etc. Ritter provided the above purpose of geography in his famous Erdkunde. It was Ritter who introduced the inductive method in geography. He sought to develop a regional geography for which he used units like earth tile or the continents for the basis of his study. He was of the idea that all continents had similar physical features and thus were divided into the core and the periphery. While the highland constituted the core that was supposed to be drained by the major rivers of the land, there was the periphery that was constituted of the low-lying coastland. Thereafter, in the late 19th century, geographers were highly influenced by the Darwinian doctrine and made significant contributions in furthering systematic geography. The most prominent among them were Ferdinand von Richtofen and Friedrich Radzin. Richtofen perceived geography in the same line as Humboldt, as the science of the Earth's surface as well as the phenomena on it that are causally interrelated with it. According to Richtofen, the purpose of systematic geography was to provide an understanding of the interrelationship and causality of phenomena on the Earth's surface, which can be used for deducing about individual regions as well. He provided a guideline for the systematic study of the Earth's surface. Richtofen also differentiated between general or systematic geography as analytic and regressive, that is based on general concepts, and special or regional geography as synthetic and descriptive, dealing with the unique and the peculiar. Friedrich Radzin, in his Anthropogeography, set a framework for the systematic study of human geography and thus set a new trend in the subject, because prior to him, systematic geography only involved physical geography and human geography was mainly confined within the regional studies. His Anthropogeography was essentially a reflection of the Darwinian viewpoints and emphasized on the concept of natural selection that was used in the natural sciences. Radzin was of the view that cultural differences of a land were much more prominent than the physical differences. His concept of geography was based on two propositions. One, the interrelation of the environment and the humans, and number two, the interrelations of the humans among themselves. Alfred Hetner distinguished between systematic geography as that which is interested in formulating general laws and theories, and regional geography as concerned with the study of peculiarities in which generalizations are tested to improvise on the existing theories. The regional tradition was again revived by the French geographer Vidal de la Blache. He introduced the concept of pays or small local units as ideal units of study for the geographers. And these units could even be used to arrive at general conclusions. He, however, was contested by Reclus with his La Terra that was centered on systematic physical geography. The dichotomy between systematic and regional geography subsequently led to the Hartshorne-Schaeffer debate. While Hartshorne, in his Nature of Geography, advocated that geography was regional in its essence, and therefore he put forward his concept of areal differentiation, his views were refuted by Schaeffer as Hartshornian orthodoxy, and he called for a systematic scientific approach for geographical studies. Coming to the next dualism in geography, that is the dualism between physical geography and human geography. It was Varinius again as one of the first scholars to highlight on the differences in the nature and content of physical and human geography, though he himself was not much interested in the latter, since human geography could not be subjected to mathematical laws to generate universal principles. Varinius believed that the methods of the natural sciences could be successfully used to draw conclusions about natural phenomena with precision to a considerable extent. But they cannot be applied to human groups because they are more subject to probability than certainty. Following him, Immanuel Kant offered a regular course of lectures on physical geography at the University of Königsberg between 1756 and 1796. According to Kant, physical geography not only included the features visible on the Earth's surface as created by the natural processes, but they also included the features created by human actions. Kant opined that physical geography is the first part of knowledge of the world and is essential to develop our basic understanding of the Earth as the abode of humans and for furthering philosophical studies. After Kant, it was Humboldt again who stressed upon the study of physical geography. Since he believed in the concept of the unity of nature, in his opinion, physical geography was the study of phenomena arranged on the Earth's surface and mutually related to each other, and this constituted the natural whole. Humboldt was of the view that differences in the economic, social, and political conditions of different spatial units were largely a function of differences in natural conditions. Thus, according to him, human factors were subordinate to the natural factors. On the contrary, by upholding the teleological view that sought to provide a philosophical interpretation for geographical phenomena, Ritter's view of geography was anthropocentric in nature. Ritter conceived the earth as created by God with a purpose to educate humans and facilitate in its development. Ritter's anthropocentric geography stated that the way natural phenomena of any spatial unit affects its inhabitants, the inhabitants in turn can also have an influence on the land. Under the impact of Darwinian ideas later on, geographers focused more and more on physical geography. Like in 1848, Mary Somerville authored her Physical Geography, and in 1877, Thomas Henry Huxley authored Physiography as a study of nature. In the second half of the 19th century, more and more geographers were inclined towards physical geography. It is believed that Hetner accorded greater importance to the physical environment in comparison to the cultural environment. Around this time, German geographer Penck coined the term geomorphology as a study of landforms and established it as a distinctive subfield of physical geography. It was Penck who formulated the principles of landform evolution and highlighted on the importance of relief maps in the systematic study of geographical elements. Subsequently, American geographer William Morris Davis also put forward his normal cycle of erosion. There were other scholars like Koppen, Marton, Mill, and Dokuchaev who put greater emphasis on landforms or climate as a major focus of geography. In fact, Semple went forward to explain humans as a product of the Earth's surface. Mackinder, Chisholm, Herbertson, and Huntington, all of them recognized physical geography as a core of the discipline. Over the years, several sub-branches or subfields of physical geography have evolved, like geomorphology, dealing with the study of landforms, climatology, dealing with the study of climate and weather elements, oceanography, dealing with the elements of the ocean, pedology, dealing with science, biogeography, dealing with the spatial distribution of biotic life, and the environmental geography. The human element in geography was formally introduced in the work of Radzin, which actually gave rise to the dichotomy between physical and human geography. Radzin in his Anthropogeography described geography as a study of the humans in the context of different races. However, he too was influenced by the Darwinian views and incorporated two major Darwinian tenets in his works. One, the struggle and natural selection, and two, association and organization. And he used these themes in drawing an analogy between the political units and the living organisms. Therefore, eventually came to be known as a father of political geography. However, it was the French geographer Vidal de la Blache who may be regarded as a founding father of modern human geography. Blache was of the opinion that human geography was a natural science, however. He adopted an inductive and historical approach in putting forth his propositions of human geography. His Principles de Geographie Humaine, which was published posthumously, had several parts, each devoted to several aspects of human geography. The introductory part analyzed the principle of terrestrial unity as well as the concept of cultural milieu. Part first focused on population clusters and density. The second part was a description of man-milieu relationship. The third part dealt with transport and communication, which was completed later by Marton, who also added the components of human races, diffusion of innovation, and cultural regions in it. The Vidalian tradition was carried forward by his ardent follower Jean Bruns, who propagated Blanch's views of human geography not only within France but in other parts of the world as well. French historian Lucien Febvre was also inspired by the Vidalian human geography. He put forward that humankind emerged as a powerful agent of modifying the Earth's surface through centuries of his accumulated labor and decision making. American geographer Isaiah Bauman also championed the cause of human approach in geography. In 1924, American geographer Carl O. Sawyer propounded his landscape paradigm, in which he highlighted on humans as agents of fashioning the natural landscape. Over the years, studies in human geography has led to the various sub-branches in this discourse as well, namely the population geography, settlement geography, economic geography, social geography, cultural geography, political geography, historical geography, and so on. The dichotomy that existed between the two prominent philosophies of geography, namely environmental determinism and possibilism, were actually rooted in the dualism between physical and human geography. In fact, the two revolutions that geography underwent, namely the positive quantitative revolution and the critical revolution, were somehow related to this dichotomy. This may be justified by the fact that while the former attempted to introduce the methodologies of the systematic sciences in geography, the latter developed as a critic of the former mainly emphasized on the humane essence of the subject. Finally, coming to the dualism between historical geography and the contemporary geography. That all history should be treated geographically and all geography historically was asserted by the Greek scholar Herodotus. Thereafter, Immanuel Kant opined that since any individual's knowledge or experience was restricted to a specific time and space, his knowledge has to be supplemented with the experiences of others. And such knowledge derived indirectly from the other sources were of two types. It is narrative and descriptive. And it is this narrative part which constituted history and the descriptive which constituted geography. Thus, history and geography make up the entire gamut of empirical knowledge, the former that of time and the latter that of space. Therefore, the importance of historical approach to geographical studies can be acknowledged. The dichotomy between historical and contemporary geography may also be considered an important dualism in geography. Historical geography is a geographical description of any spatial unit as it had been in the past. The work of S.M. Ali on the geography of the Puranas, in which he endeavored to provide a geographical account of ancient India, may be considered a monumental work in this field. The contributions of the American geographer Ralph Brown on historical geography may also be regarded of significance. In fact, the Vidalian tradition also adopted a historical approach. However, historical geography is not a conventional field of geography as of contemporary geography, and hence limited works may be found in this domain of study. Nevertheless, it incorporates in it both systematic and regional studies and included all the possible aspects of geographical knowledge. Now, what is the subject matter of historical geography? The geographical factor in history, the first and the foremost theme of historical geography. In the latter part of the 19th century, historical geography was conceived to be associated with the study of the mutual relations of phenomena over space in a particular period of time, or to study the impact of geographical phenomena in shaping the history of a region. Wittelsay emphasized on the study of historical factors in geography as it was thought to provide a spatio-temporal framework to study any spatial unit. The next theme of study in historical geography is a changing cultural landscape. Now, historical geography is considered to be dealing with this. Since history existed in the deals with the past, and cultural landscape existed in the past in any area, such as settlement pattern, cropping pattern, housing types. Therefore, dealing with the cultural landscape of the past is an essential part of historical geography. Then it's a reconstruction of past geographies, which forms another important theme in historical geography. And this is an important aspect of historical geography, because since it embraces all fields of geographical knowledge of the past, reconstruction of past geographies is essential for contemporary geographers, as it is believed to enable them to interpret the geographical phenomena of any spatial unit in present times in a more comprehensive manner. And the final theme is geographical changes through time. The concept of space is of central focus in geography, and geographical phenomena over space, whether natural or cultural, changes with time, which in turn changes the character of space. Therefore, the study of these geographical changes with time is of utmost importance to the geographers. Contemporary geography, on the other hand, includes all the geographical knowledge of modern times. In fact, geography has also witnessed the emergence of the postmodern era and the modern era, and there is a constant revamping of approaches and methodologies in the geographical discourse in the contemporary times. Now, after having a knowledge of the dualisms that exist in geography, the question that arises that whether such dualisms is basically a reality or a myth. It is a fact that methodological differences have given rise to several dualisms in geography, but the related question is that whether the dichotomies that result from such dualisms have really produced exclusive fields of knowledge, or whether such fields of knowledge are mutually related and transcends into one another. To be precise, the question is that whether dualism in geography is a reality or it's a myth. Varinius, who actually introduced the tradition of dualism in geography while categorizing between general and special geography, asserted that they were mutually interdependent branches of geography, and stressed the fact that special geography provided the database based on which general geography could infer the general hypotheses and laws. Humboldt too recognized the interdependence of aerial phenomena and opined that to understand a whole comprised of multiple phenomena, it is essential to have a knowledge about the constituents of the whole. Similarly, though Ritter adopted an inductive approach, he acknowledged the contributions of Humboldt's systematic studies that enabled him to undertake special studies of the regions. Richtofen, on the other hand, while on one hand he attempted to follow the precedents of Humboldt in establishing the affinity between geography and the natural sciences, on the other hand, he also tried to restore the Ritterian tradition. And it was, of course, Hetner who actually removed the dualism of the ideographic and nomothetic approach in geography by stating that geography could involve both ideographic and nomothetic methods. Both systematic and regional geographies may be regarded as the two extreme points of a continuum that gradually merges into the other. Even in regional studies, the concept of compage was introduced by Whittlesey to explain that regional geography was not a mere description of phenomena as characteristic of any spatial unit, but studies the functional association that exists between human beings and his physical, biotic, and social environment. Therefore, these arguments basically blurs the dualism that exists between systematic and regional geography, as the general can be deciphered only through the particular, which in turn is again dependent on the general. The next dualism to follow is that between the physical and the human geography. In this too, the basic question posed is whether humans can be excluded from nature, or whether the natural landscapes can be without the humans. In fact, it is not possible to study the human phenomena independent of natural landscape and natural phenomena without their relationship with the humans. And therefore, as has been seen that throughout in geography, the major thrust of study has been the relationship between humans and the environment that constitutes the central thesis of the subject. This relationship, however, has undergone modifications, sometimes according greater importance to either nature or to humans at different points of time, or sometimes placing humans in harmony with nature. Even Kant's physical geography was anthropocentric in nature. In physical geography, while explaining the normal cycle of erosion or the landform evolution, it was again, the analogy was drawn with the life cycle of humans, whereas in the concept of pace in human geography, it involved small natural regions. Thus, physical and human geography, instead of being in contrast, rather complements each other, which in turn fade away the dualism between physical and human geography. Finally, regarding the dualism between historical and contemporary geography, it may be stated that contemporary geography would become a part of historical geography over time, because what is present today shall become past over time. To comprehend the present, it is highly essential to know the past, and historical geography therefore provides a base for studying the contemporary phenomena or how they have evolved over time. Regarding this, Mackinder asserted that historical geography is thus basically the study of the historical present. Thus, even in case of dualism between historical and contemporary geography, it is evident that one eventually leads to the other, and hence their dualism also stands as illogical. Therefore, what we see is that the dualism which we speak of in geography is not a reality in the real sense, but a myth, because one field of knowledge is actually dependent on the other. Thank you.